Right, welcome back 40k fans to Battleforged Brothers channel, and today we have a extra special 40k battle today. It's going to be a big one, 2,500 points, Maelstrom of Battle. We are playing over this abandoned Exodite planet here. No Eldar structures, however, we have a natural occurring Eldar structure, I suppose, here for the World Spirit. And the Tau Empire are on their way, on their expanse, but they are going to meet some heavy resistance in the form of Craftworld Iyanden. So Craftworld Iyanden back on the channel. It's going to be a big one. There's some big guns facing each other, and as you can see, we are playing Vanguard Strike. We've done it in a bit of an opposite as what's in the book. So the two deployment zones is this grey line of dice here. It's my deployment, and I'll be using the Tau today. And the green dice represented over there is the Eldar Craftworld Iyanden's deployment over that side. So as you can see, we've got rock formations, trees, obviously the natural occurring formation here. Just not a great deal of line of sight. A couple of big rocks, I suppose, but we are going to need them once you see the lists. So at the moment, the Craftworld Iyanden have won the roll-off. They have elected to deploy first and go first. So we will come back after the deployment and we'll run through the army lists as well. We'll start off with Craftworld Iyanden. So we'll be back in a moment. Right guys, this is the Iyanden Craftworld force, and as you can see, it is a very big wraith construct there. So Graham's just going to run through his list. Moving from left to right, so down here, obviously Graham is the Warp Hunter, yeah?
Yep, there's the Warp Hunter.
Yep.
And we've got the Revenant Titan, which is armed with the 2 pulsars.
Okay.
Just below that, we've got the Voldrath support battery with D cannons.
And then a lot of bikes.
And we've got a lot of bikes, yeah. We've got the first lot, we've got a 4-man squad bike.
That's these 4 here, yeah?
They're 4, yeah, with the scatter lasers.
Okay.
And we also have another 2 3-man squad with scatter lasers, and a 3-man squad with Triton cannons. Right,
and then obviously a Warlock Skyrunner and a Farseer Skyrunner,
yes.
Yeah? What powers did they go? Did they choose?
Haven't rolled for the powers yet.
Right, okay, so powers, we'll cover the powers in a second for them. Okie doke. So very intimidating force here, a lot of fast movement, especially with these, a lot of shots coming in from the scatter lasers. And of course, not to mention the big, massive wraith construct. This World Spirit must mean a great deal to the Eldar if they are willing to bring out such a rare and prized wraith construct. However, the Tau have brought something for this situation, so we will come back with the Tau force and what they brought in response back in a moment. Right, okay, so this is the Tau force, which will be trying to attack and get as much points as possible, because it is a Maelstrom war game against the Eldar. So it doesn't look as vast as the Eldar, but down here we have a 7-man squad strike team with a marker drone, another 7-man squad there with a marker drone, and another squad there with a marker drone as well. That makes up the bulk. We are using a battalion detachment, so Battleforged and battalion, so that gives us 6 command points. The Eldar, just to mention, they are running the Outrider detachment. With them being Battleforged, that'll give them 4 command points. So very quickly, we have an Ethereal on a hover drone, just on the back there. We have a Hammerhead. It's not long strike, but we are using it just as a standard Hammerhead with the railgun. Over that anchor in the right hand side, well the left hand side from my perspective, is the Riptide. He has the Ion Accelerator and the 2 Plasma. He also has an advanced targeting system, and as you can see right at the back, anchoring just behind this rock here, is the Taunar Supremacy unit with its tri-axis ion cannon, the fusion eradicator, and the massive bombardment weapon. I forget the name for it, but it is lethal. Just in reserve for the Tau, obviously we have a Tau commander just at the over here. Tau Commander has the Cyclic Ion Blaster and Advanced Targeting System. Another 3-man squad of Crisis teams with dual plasma. And behind them we have another Crisis team. There's no leaders in these, with Fusion and Burst. And every single one of them that can take it has got the Advanced Targeting System on there as well. No upgrades on Hammerhead, nothing at all like that. Warlord is the commander. The Warlord for the Eldar is the Farseer. And just to quickly mention before we see if we can steal the initiative, the Eldar Farseers for their powers. The Farseer has Doom and Guide, and of course the Warlock Skyrunner, he just has his standard Conceal and Reveal. So at the moment it is the Eldar going first, unless of course the Tau, if they are extremely lucky, can steal the initiative. So we will roll, hopefully get a nice tasty 6. On a 3 we don't. So we will come back after the movement phase for Eldar on their turn 1. Right, okay, so as you can see, at the beginning of Eldar turn, they have Kingslayer, Overwhelming Firepower, and Supremacy. So, just to mention, of course, the objectives, because we are doing objectives. You have Objective 1, just near this rock here. Objective 2, just near the tree over there. Objective 3, so 1, 2, and 3 are very close together, all kind of around the centre. We have Objective 4, just over that side there, and Objective 6 there, and number 5 is just lurking right the way over on the far left hand side here. So we are just playing standard draw 3 cards. So we'll come back very shortly after the Eldar have advanced to see what they can do for the objectives. Be back in a moment. Right, okay, so we are just back after the Eldar's movement phase, and as you can see, everything's pretty much to move up. So all the jet bikes revving their engines have came flying around here, thinking of the objectives, of course, as well, to claim them as fast as possible. And the Revenant has jumped 22 inches, just leaping across, which has gave him a 6+ invuln should he need it. Warp Hunter just anchoring the left-hand side for them, just kept coming around and currently holding this objective down here. So at the end of the movement phase, that will gift them points. So they pretty much got that. So we are going to go into psychic and shooting. Right, okay, so just back after a very brutal shooting phase. So we'll start over this side first. Warp Hunter firing its big gun, firing the blast version. Stripped the Riptide down to 3 wounds. Absolutely brutal. It's still kicking around, but it has a massive hole blown through its armour. The Revenant fired down and got first blood, shot down and took this straight out. Dealt out a ridiculous amount of wounds. It didn't explode, and firepower coming in from the jet bikes that are in range and visible took 2 of the strike team down here. So no further shooting that way. Obviously no assaults, so that gave the Eldar first blood there. One of the cards as well for overwhelming firepower, so that puts them on 2. And they are controlling objective 1. Which other objectives? Objective 3, and over here, just objective 4 there. So it's just a D3 to add on to that.
1.
Okay, so that is 1. So that puts them on 3 at the moment. To the Tau's nothing. The Tau will have to respond to this force. That Revenant is absolutely brutal, and especially if it opens up against anything else, mainly this, it can be absolutely devastating. Heavy 2d6 for each pulsar. So we'll have to come back and see what we can do to repel against these. We're going to have to try and chip away at the bikes. Going to have to put some wounds into the Revenant, but we'll have to wait and see what we do. So we'll come back after Tau on their turn 1. Right, okay, so the objectives for the Tau is defend objective 4. I need to hold that for 2 turns. Objective 3, exactly the same. Need to do that for 2 turns. And mission critical objective, I need to roll a d6, and I've rolled objective 2. So that is just here. So there's nobody currently near this at the moment in range. So we could potentially go for that. Objective 4 is the Warp Hunter, and objective 3 is the Revenant sat on that as well. However, it is 8th edition, so if I get more models within range, it'll be me that'll control it, but it's whether I want to get close to that guy is the question. So we'll come back after movement phase for the Tau, and hopefully we can see if we can pull something out the bag for this. So we'll be back in a moment. Right, okay, so just back after movement for the Tau in response to the Eldar advance. So the wounded Riptide is just moving as far away from the Warp Hunter as possible. He's probably going to die soon if he gets shot by pretty much anything. So he's just coming round here and looking to get some shots at some of the bike squads through there. The drones just come around this corner. This squad is just moved up a little bit. The Ethereal is just moved up his 8 inches. Within range to cast his Invocation of Elements, which he has done, and he's used the Storm of Fire ability on this squad, and that squad. So this squad's moved up with its marker drone, this squad as well. The Taunar has just jumped 16 round here, and it's going to be looking to get rid of many of these bikes as possible, or potentially shoot some shots into the Revenant. Apart from that, we've had to do it. Deep struck down there with the dual plasma squad, and just right round here we have deep struck the fusion and burst teams down here, just anchoring on objective 6, looking to get some shots in at the Warp Hunter, hopefully do some damage that way. Depending on what goes on here, we may divert some attention from the Riptide onto the Warp Hunter. We can't let that gun just roam around freely. Revenant's going to be the tricky one to take out with its 32 wounds to chip away. It's going to be a difficult one to shift, but we are going to have to do something about the bikes, I think. I think they're the priority. So we'll come back, no psychers obviously for Tau, so we'll come back after the shooting phase. Hopefully we can get rid of some annoying units. So we'll be back in a moment. Right, okay, so just back after the shooting phase for Tau. Bit poorer, to be honest. Not a great deal coming in from Marklights and the Fire Warriors. Dished a couple of wounds out. Obviously there's a squad gone here. That was from mixed firepower coming in from the Taunar, and obviously from the Crisis teams as well. The Taunar also fired his bombardment into the Revenant and stripped it half its wounds off, so that was impressive there. We also got Slay the Warlord from the Fusion Eradicator that killed the Farseer outright. The Riptide, with him only on 3 wounds, I elected to just use his Nova Reactor and absolutely failed miserably, did no damage at all, so he's probably going to be dead. Over this side, the Crisis team did brilliantly, shot into the Warp Hunter and killed it outright, so that's that threat gone from this left-hand side over here. So the Revenants, obviously it is limping around, but it is by no means necessarily out of the game. We are going to see some exchange of firepower from these 2 Titans on the board. So apart from that, points wise, we have 1 point, and that is for Slay the Warlord. We did not get any of the other objectives, and at this stage we have elected to discard the defend objective 3, which is right near where the Revenant is. Just hopefully so we can get some better objectives in our next turn. Commander is still off the board, of course, as well, so we still have him to be able to use with his Cyclone Ion Blaster. But apart from that, we will go into the Eldar for their turn 2. Hopefully we can weather the storm. Right, so just with the cards, obviously Kingslayer and Objective 3 is still there. So we know who's going to be guarding that, the Revenant. And the new card is the Mission Critical Objective, similar to what the Tau got, and they drew Objective 4, which Objective 4 is near the ruined Warp Hunter. So what the Eldar will do to claim that, will they go for it, or will they try and castle up? We'll have to wait and see. But we'll come back after movement phase and the inevitable psychic and shooting. So we'll be back in a moment. Right, okay, so just movement for the Eldar before we go into the psychic and shooting. So the Revenant is, with its half wounds, jumped 18 inches this way, and it's got a clear line of sight. I know probably it'll be going straight for the Taunar. And in a swooping manner, obviously all the bikes are trying to envelope the Tau force this side here. Just round here, one of the platforms is just currently holding objective 3, and the other one's just gone through this little ravine, looking to potentially get some shots off at these. We are going to go into the psychic phase for the Eldar. They only have the Warlock, so it'll be very quick. So we're going to do psychic and shooting all together, and we will hopefully see if we can weather this storm. There's a lot of guns in our face, and a lot of long range ones as well, which will do a lot of damage with them horrible pulsars. But we'll have to. This is what happens when you bring 2 Titans to a 2,500 point game. We are going to shoot the crap out of each other. So who will be left standing? We'll have to wait and see. So we'll be back after psychic and shooting for Eldar on their turn 2. Right, okay, so just back after a very quick psychic and shooting phase. So psychic phase, just conceal cast on this squad here. In the shooting phase, however, a lot of firepower coming in from these guys with their shooting cannons and the scatter lasers down this side. Took out this strike team squad there. Took out the drone and another of their number there as well. Just moving across, these are reduced down to 2. And the Taunar suffered some shots in from the pulsars. Didn't get as many wounds as I thought, but has stripped it down of 10 wounds, so that's on 20 wounds. Just over this side, just moving across, not in range there. And firepower coming in from this one, from the D-cannons, took the Crisis team down by 1 wound. So poor roll on that side, but a little bit devastating on this side around here. Graham does have some charges to set off. The Warlock and the squad behind are going to be charging this squad here, and this squad here is going to be charging into the fire team down there. So we'll roll for the Warlock first into the 2-man squad.
Yep, Warlock's gone.
6, 7, yeah. 8, sorry. I think he'll be in there.
Double check now. Yep.
Yep, okay, and the guys behind, we'll resolve Overwatch in a moment.
Yep, they're definitely in.
Yep, they'll be in as well. So just Overwatch down on this side for these guys. We'll obviously get Overwatch here as well.
Yep, so this.
Bit of a stretch, this one. Looks as though it'll be about a 9-inch charge.
6, 7, 8.
8. Be a bit risky to get in.
Yep, we're in.
Yep, they're in. Right, okay, so we'll get Overwatch resolved, as well as the combats. And then we will come back after the Tau movement on their... excuse me, we'll come back on the Tau movement for their turn 2. Right, okay, so just back after the combats, and over this side, this squad has been wiped out. Drawn combat over here, so no differences there. They've just consolidated back 3 inches. Apart from that, going into the Tau turn for their movements, we'll be back in a moment after that, but just for the points side of it, no points scored in that round, and Graham has elected to discard the critical objective 4 over here, because it's a bit of a stretch for him to get there unless he moves his Revenant, which I don't think he's going to want to do. Scores on the doors at the moment is 3 to the Eldar, 1 to the Tau. So we'll come back with the cards and movement for the Tau on their turn 2. Alright, so just at the top of Tau on their turn 2, and these are the cards that we've drawn. So we've still got secure defend objective 4, mission critical for objective 2. New card we've gotten is no prisoners. We've still got 5 of our command points to use as well. So very quickly, we'll just come back after movement. We're going to hopefully shift out, so we'll see what can happen after that. Right, so just back after movement phase for the Tau. So the Riptides just come moving up a little bit just for some support for these guys who fell back out of combat. The Ethereals just come round here just to get out of harm's way, and he's used the Sense of Stone ability. So these guys, they'll be able to ignore unsaved wounds if they roll a 6. The Crisis team's just coming around to some support and fire on these. Just moving around this side, this Crisis team here, they have advanced. So they've got a 6 to advance, so they've moved up 14 inches. So they're currently holding objective 4. And at the end, the commander is on the field, 9 inches away, but hopefully be able to do some impact that way. So no psychics, obviously, and we are going to go into the shooting phase. We need to do as much damage as we possibly can in this turn, and I think it's going to come down to the Titan to be able to do so. So we'll come back after shooting, and hopefully there'll not be a great deal of Eldar left. Right, okay, so just back after the shooting phase for the Tau. And as you can see, a little bit of damage done this way. We've already done morale as well. These guys have passed morale. We did take out the Warlock that came from shooting from the Taunar. The rest of his shooting was dictated all over the place, and we have took down the Revenant. The mighty Wraithbone construct is burning in cinders on this planet here. So his spirit will be looking to join the world spirit on this planet, and hopefully the Eldar will be able to use it once again. But for the time being, mighty Wraithbone construct has fell. Didn't explode, but he is burning on the ground there. Just over this side, nothing really else to shoot at, to be honest. There's not a great deal that we had to cover. It's starting to get very thin for both sides, actually. I mean, yes, we do have the advantage of having this now, that the Revenant's gone. But in regards to points, the Eldar are on top. However, so points at the end of that round, there is only one that we've got to roll for, which was no prisoners, because we did kill 5 lots of units. That was mainly jet bike squads around here, Warlock over there, and of course the Titan over there as well. So D3 victory points added on to our 1 that we have at the moment. 5, that'll give us 3, so that puts us on 4. So we don't have any assaults because we've already done morale phase, but we are going into the Eldar for their turn 4. So we'll be back in a moment after their movement phase and see what cards that they draw out as well. So we'll be back in a moment. Right, okay, so this is the cards that the Tower drew. So the new one is Hold the Line. So that is score 1 victory point if at least 3 enemy units are still within his deployment zone. Now remember, with it being Vanguard, it'll have to be over this side here. So just obviously objective, the defend objective 3, that's going to be an important one, because as long as this the platform is holding that, that'll be 2 points there. So we'll come back after movements completed for the Eldar on their turn 4. Right, okay, so we have just done the entire phase for the Eldar on their turn 4. So just moving the bikes around here and the 2 platforms as well. Bikes shifting around here as well. So shooting wise, not a great deal of damage done. Obviously the Ethereal was killed, a couple of Fire Warriors as well. Over this side, the D-cannons shot into the Warlord and took him down to 4 wounds, so he's still fine over there. Graham did set off a charge for the bikes that were here, that came around here and shot and killed the Ethereal. So they came into this way and obviously within range for support and fire and killed them. So we are currently going into the Tau for their turn 4, just for points wise. Graham did achieve his secure objective 3 over here, so that puts him on 5 to the Tau's 4. So the Tau need to do something to pull some numbers back here. So we will come back at the beginning just to show you the cards, and then we'll do the entire phase. So we'll be back in a moment. Right, okay, so we still have defend objective 4, which the Crisis team are currently holding that. And we still have this mission critical objective as well, so we're going to have to move out for that. New card we've drawn is behind enemy lines. It's going to be a very big stretch to get all the way over there for the Tau for that, so we're probably going to ignore that card and concentrate on these 2 here. So the Titan, I think, will be moving out as well to dish some firepower out, see if we can see if we can get rid of the Eldar off the board, to be honest. So it is very close, but we're going to have to wait and see for the movement and shooting phase, see what damage we can do. So we'll come back after the entire phase with it being a very short model count. So we'll be back in a moment. Right, okay, so just back after the Tau turn 4. So movement wise, the commanders came over to this way. These guys have stayed exactly where they are. Riptide advanced and got a 10 in total. So he's just moved up in range of that to claim there. Fire Warriors are hanging back. And the Taunar, that's just jumped up. And the crisis team over there is just lingering behind there, just in case we drew another card in the future, but we don't think we need it. In shooting phase, very impressive. No assaults, but we have took pretty much the entire Eldar force down to 1 bike on 1 wound. But the Eldar are tenacious. They are going to continue on. At the moment, points-wise, we are now on 7 because we did get secure objective 2, which gave us 1 there. And at the end of our turn, we were holding this one over here as well. So we're currently on 7 to the Eldar's 4. So we are going into more than likely the final turn. So we'll come back, we'll do the entire phase, especially with it just being 1 guy here. Can he bring any kind of honour back to the Craftworld? We'll have to wait and see, so we'll be back in a moment. Right, okay, so we are just back after the Eldar's final turn, and obviously as you can probably appreciate, they have called it as well. The card that they got was secure objective 2, which is miles away, especially for 1 unit as well. So just took a couple of pot shots into the commander. He did cause 2 wounds, but I passed them both. Also went to do a charge and failed the distance. I elected off sportsmanship, of course, and not to do any Overwatch because it wasn't really needed. But absolutely brutal game. We did actually do a test at the beginning of the game, which Graham elected not to actually continue on with firepower from the pulsars. And he did actually take out the Taunar in 1 fell sweep. But very good sportsmanship from Graham. Obviously, he didn't want to just do it straight away. And to be honest, I'm quite surprised with the firepower. It is deadly, but I didn't take obviously the Revenant out straight away. So that's not what we wanted here. We didn't want, anybody to be kind of at a disadvantage straight away. I didn't feel as though it was a walkover by no chance. The Eldar were very, very quick and very swamping us. But it came down to, I suppose, it was cards and very lucky shooting. I think I got 2 very good rounds of shooting, but apart from that, my rolls have been terrible all game. If it wasn't for them 2 rounds of shooting, it'd be a totally different story here. But very short game today, especially with the big guys on the board. So I hope you have appreciated this one, especially looking at the Revenant and seeing the Taunar on the board. Nice to have them on. It's not very often we get them out, but on this day, obviously Iyanden will be going home. There will be songs sung in the Craftworld. So thanks very much for watching, guys. If you like what you see, check our channel out. Give us a like, give us a sub, and until then, tune in next time.